ora e te iwi no mai haramai ki UFC on Sky Kuravinda Hunia Toku Ingawa, and joining me, number 5 UFC lightweight Dan Hooker. Kia ora e hoa.
Yeah, looking forward to this week. Big Noche card. Just remembered, I will be there. I'm obviously going over with Aaron Toe. He's got his Contender Series fight on Wednesday, and so we'll be flying over Friday New Zealand time, and then I'll be sitting in the Sphere on Saturday night enjoying the card live.
Mate, what are you expecting when you walk in there? Because this is a monster of a venue. First time that a sporting event has ever been done.
First and only, you said the amount.
Apparently, yep. One and done.
One and done. Yeah, it's like a once in a lifetime thing. I've seen the Sphere a few times from the outside, just being over in Las Vegas and being in the hotel, looking down on it. It's quite the spectacle. It's pretty incredible. So to be inside and to not only be inside but be enjoying a UFC event from in there, I'm as interested in everyone else to see how it's all going to work, because it's a once in a lifetime event.
Absolutely. And as we said, it's never been done here before, and it's never been done in this way where the venue is theatre style as opposed to an audience sitting, 360 around the octagon. How much of a difference will that be, do you think?
Yeah, I've fought in some weird venues in the past. Fought it down in Dunedin in the theatre down there, and it was like the same kind of setup where the crowd is all just one side, looking down on the cage, which was they had a cage, was just a fence on the ground of a stage theatre, and it was pretty crazy. That was pretty unique, but I'm expecting a little bit more. I'm expecting a touch more effort in this Noche event.
Yeah, absolutely. And look, the whole concept came about because Dana White actually went to the U2 concert that was here. U2 held a residency at the Sphere and thought, we could have a UFC in here. And if you YouTube the U2 concert, it is absolutely amazing. You actually, you don't forget because you can still hear them singing and things, but you're just like, oh wow, there's a concert going on with all these amazing graphics and movements and smells, wind.
Wild.
All happening in there, and you're going to be a part of it.
Wild. I'll be able to report back after my holiday.
How much wind? How much wind? Where's what we want to know? How much wind and how many smells?
Well, I'm going to sneak a little trip to Tahiti after Las Vegas. So once I get back from there, I'll be able to report how the event went. It's a tough life. Someone's got to do it.
You're lucky you've earned it. So that's all good. But in terms of what's happening at UFC 306 this weekend, I had the pleasure of catching up with UFC Chief Content Officer Craig Borsari to tell us how they are bringing this production to life. Kia ora, Craig, and welcome to UFC on Sky.
Hi there.
Well, first of all, Craig, we know you are the Chief Content Officer at the UFC, but I'm quite interested in your story first and foremost. Talk to us a little bit about what you do for the UFC and the innovative ideas you've had to create over the years.
Sure, yeah. I've been with the UFC for almost 20 years now. And when I joined back in 2005, I had come over, I think I was the 16th employee at the UFC. At the time, everybody did a little bit of everything. It was all hands on deck. The company was just starting to get some momentum. So I've been fortunate enough to be, across so many of these different eras within the UFC as it was building, and really learn the business from the ground up. I from the get-go really gravitated towards the production side. I had a passion for it. I really enjoyed it. And there was a big need for us as a media company to really focus on that aspect of our business.
Look, I imagine that it would be quite competitive as well when you think about the amount of sports that are produced in the US, not only for the US, but internationally as well. So talk to us about trying to stay ahead of the rest when it comes to creating product.
It is tricky. We on the production side of things, are constantly looking at new technology and looking at what's starting to come into our space in a real way. 3D several years ago was a big new component for live 3D. We even did a couple live broadcasts in 3D. So we like to evaluate, what's coming on the scene. We try to be first whenever we possibly can. Perfect example of that is what we're doing at Sphere Las Vegas on September 14th, and being able to really go in there and be the first to put on a live sporting event. So everybody on the production side always has their radar up to see, what is emerging, what's coming on the scene. Maybe it's not right for us. Maybe it is right for us. Sometimes it's inventing new camera rigs or technology in-house. So we are constantly trying to be out in front, be innovative, and take our production execution to the next level.
Does that actually include social media as well as production for on air?
I mean, I'm primarily talking about our on-air live event product, but yes, I mean, it's really true about every department within this company. We're just constantly trying to be innovative, new, on the cutting edge of technology across everything that we do. So really, every department really operates that way. It's part of the company's ethos to be first. And I think you'll find it, virtually in every single department within this company.
Now, Craig, you mentioned firsts, and this weekend UFC 306 will be taking to the Sphere in Las Vegas, and it'll be a theatre-style event. So why was this the best fit for the UFC?
Well, you've probably heard Dana talk about it a little bit, but he had seen the U2 concert out of this venue and was just blown away by the technology and the visuals inside the venue, including the amazing audio technology they have there. And he thought this would be great for a UFC event without thinking through exactly how we would achieve it. That's not his job. That's my job. So I went the very next weekend to look at the U2 concert and take it in. And it was mind blowing. It was an incredible show. Unfortunately for me, I didn't get to enjoy it because I kept thinking about how in the world are we going to put on a UFC event inside this incredible venue, because it was not at first a venue where I would think this is a perfect setting for a UFC show. The reason ultimately we got to a place where we felt like this could be amazing is primarily because we solved for the lighting challenge that we were faced with. So our fights for the past 30 years have always had this lighting truss sit over the octagon 32 feet above the floor. And if you do that inside the Sphere, you have a massive structure that's a visual obstruction for almost virtually every seat inside the venue. Why would you even go in there if that was the way you're going to light your octagon? So we immediately had to solve for this lighting issue on and figuring out how we could light the octagon, get the light levels at the proper level so that all of our high-speed cameras would work properly, make sure that we didn't have any shadows inside the octagon, and we had to do it without a lighting truss. And the way the engineers figured it out was to light the octagon from behind the LED media plane. So behind the LED media plane are little gaps between the LED nodes. And our approach is going to be to shine light through those little gaps when the fights are going on. And then when the fights aren't happening, those lights will go off and we'll be able to use the full media plane with no blow through lighting to entertain folks with the film and the chapters of the film that we're going to run throughout the night.
Right, so the priority there was to obviously get the event functional first, iron out all those non-negotiables, then you can add the bells and whistles of what the Sphere can provide for you.
Exactly right. You're thinking like a producer. That's exactly right. It was like, let's get the technical stuff out of the way. If we can't solve for the technical challenges, we really should not go in there. Dana doesn't accept no for an answer. So we really had to figure that piece out first. Once we did, then it was assembling our creative team together to figure out, well, now what's the narrative that we're going to tell across the event? And obviously, we're doing this for Noche UFC and celebrating the Mexican people, their culture, their heritage, their fighting spirit. So in a way, because we had this unique branded event, we had a foundation for storytelling already. So then it was a matter of bringing in the right teams and directors and creative folks to come up with how this story would play out throughout the night in a way where we could still put on fights, still provide the viewer at home our fight coverage, but tell this incredibly rich story of the Mexican people at the same time.
How much consideration was put into telling this amazing story of Mexican combat history, as well as not taking away from the event that is UFC 306?
A tremendous amount of time has gone into it. And I will say that sitting here now on, Monday, I think some of that fine tuning of that balancing we will get into when we really take over the venue and start rehearsing with all systems go. We did make a very deliberate decision that when the fights are happening, the media plane and the content on the media plane will really quiet down quite a bit. When fights are not happening, it's all about the media plane, and we want everybody's attention on it.
Well, it's an absolutely fascinating resource that you're getting to play with and putting together UFC 306. Have you been nerding out as a producer, getting your creative genes on?
I mean, it's unbelievable for somebody that, like me and the 450 plus people who have worked on this project. It is a bit of a dream scenario to, work in this space and be able to work on a project like this, be given the resources that Dana has unlocked for us to do this at the highest level we can imagine. That's pretty awesome. I mean, really once in a career type of opportunity.
Obviously, sitting at home watching the pay-per-view event will be amazing, but what can punters expect when they come to the Sphere on Sunday when they're watching the event live? Because the Sphere offers quite the sensory experience, doesn't it?
Yeah, I would say that if you're in the venue, I would expect an incredibly immersive experience. They have technology like haptic feedback in the seats. So when certain moments within the chapters of our film pop up, it will be synced to send a signal to the seats and give you, a bit of a rumble when appropriate in the film. So that will happen several times. It'll also happen during the live fight action with a big slam or knockout. The audio inside Sphere Las Vegas is so remarkable with their holoplot system that it gives you a whole nother sensory overload in terms of experiencing the sonic capabilities of the venue. It's really incredible to hear audio coming from different locations within the venue, and it just adds to that immersive experience. And then obviously the visuals on their massive LED screen is breathtaking at times.
And obviously, Craig, you're here answering the questions about it all, but you're at the front of a huge team that has been behind putting this production together. Some of those team members who are very well known for putting high profile events together. So talk to us about the amount of people and manpower that has been required to get this off the ground.
Yeah, so in addition to our normal fight coverage team, which is about 150 people that make up our touring team that goes around the world, who's incredible. We added some additional folks. So we brought on a group called Silent House Productions, Baz Halpin, who just recently helped produce the Super Bowl halftime show here in the US, which was a big deal with Usher. He and his team, Mark and Linda and Vincent and Sasha and Jillian, have come together and with their broader team helped us from the very beginning. They really were the first group to come on board. Then we brought on a group called Anti-Gravity, two principal creative forces in Carlos Lopez Estrada, who is an Oscar-nominated director, and his partner, Valerie Bush, who's a fantastic producer. They have been extraordinary to work with on the film and producing these 6 chapters. And then we brought on a group called Blink, who is handling all of our world creations and the visual effects that come with displaying these really rich worlds and environments that will be up. The list goes on and on. We brought in a group called Nexus. I mean, it gets really, there's a lighting group called Solo Tech. It's unbelievable how many folks have been added to the team.
Yeah, I think not just for us here in New Zealand, but around the world, I think it's just starting to kick in how big the magnitude is of this event.
Yeah, it is a really, I mean, we've been living it, right? So it's been, right in front of our nose for a long, long time. And just the way the UFC works, we have live shows all the time. We have a live show tomorrow night with Dana White's Contender series. So until you get close in the UFC, I don't think it really is top of mind. And here we are, event week. Yeah, it's close. It's right around the corner, and the excitement level, as I said, is at an all-time high around here.
Well, thank you so much for your time, Craig, and explaining to us what to expect ahead of UFC 306 this weekend. All the very best. We'll be watching.
I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
And joining us now at UFC on Sky, he will be contending for the Bantamweight title this weekend at UFC 306 is Merab Dvalishvili. Kia ora, Merab. Welcome to UFC on Sky.
Thank you so much for having me.
Hey, look, tell us about how it's been in Las Vegas so far. This UFC 306 is such a big event. There's a lot happening on the ground at the moment. So how has Fight Week been for you so far?
Very good. Actually, I live here in Vegas, and it's pretty normal for me. Other than I start diet and weight cutting. Otherwise, everything is normal. I was in my gym this morning, and now I'm doing interview with you.
Okay, well, it's been a big week this week. You've got a title fight coming up. How has the media experience been? We see that you do have big bantamweight fights, but how has media been ahead of this fight against Sean O'Malley?
It's a little bit different for sure, like more media. I have to do more media interview, but I had big fights before, and it's pretty similar, and also I used to it. I'm a professional, and so far so good.
Look, 10 wins in a row for you. It feels like this has been a bit of a long time coming for you to finally get, your title shot against Sean O'Malley, to finally get your hands on that strap. What does this fight mean for you in the bigger scheme of things?
This fight means everything for me. First, I was chasing Sean O'Malley since 2018, and I wanted to fight him. And of course, every UFC fighter's dream is fight for the belt. And now I'm doing my dream, fight to Sean O'Malley and fight for the belt. This is huge for me. This is huge for MMA community. We both deserving what we're doing now. I mean, he's champion, I'm #1 contender, and then we are fighting on Mexican Independence Day, and this is a special moment for sure, one and only, and I'm excited. This is huge, but same time I'm a professional, and I'm just really very calm and relaxed, and I'm just focused on myself, and I'm just gonna focus for the fight and make sure I gotta give people a good show and good fight.
G'day, mate. Good to see you again. And I wanted to get your understanding of how the whole sphere is going to work. Like, have you had a run-in on the walkout? And do you have an understanding of what things are going to look like? You don't have to give too much away, but do you have an understanding as a fighter of what it's going to look like from inside the cage?
Yeah, actually, I was there one time. It was a movie there. It's pretty incredible building, and TV goes everywhere. Like, you just see the TV, big TV, and big people. And I'm sure people who will come, they watch fights, they will have a good times. And it's gonna be different experience for sure. But me and Sean, we are both professional fighters, and we're gonna just focus for each other, and we're gonna fight, and we're gonna give people a good show, a good fight.
Yeah, I also know you took a little trip to Mexico. I wanted to know, what you focused on there. Obviously, boxing's head and shoulders the #1 sport there. Did you do a little bit of boxing over in Mexico?
I was in Mexico. I train in boxing, MMA there. I eat good food. I have a good time. Good time with my Mexican people, and I get more boxing skills. They improve more my boxing. I'm more confident now. Especially I was training there with boxers, and now I'm back, and everything is good.
Talk to us a little bit more about that prep, because there's a big criticism that it's hard to prepare against a fighter like Sean O'Malley because you never know what you're going to get. But what do you make of Sean O'Malley as an opponent, and how have you best prepared for him?
Sean O'Malley, for sure, he's a talented fighter. He is champion right now, and he has a knockout power. As a fighter, I respect him. And yeah, same. Yes, he's for sure difficult opponent, and he's but same for him. I'm not easy opponent for him. It's gonna be a great fight, but I believe I can beat him. And yeah, I'm just very confident. I just wanna fight day comes, because this is all mental game now. To make weight, I have to drop some weight down, and it's just to be hungry and thirsty, and just counting days and all this stuff. It's extra, so I just wanna fight. Just almost here, almost here.
I don't want to be hungry anymore.
Yeah, I mean, like at least we have to cut 20 pounds every fighter. We that's what we have to go through. We gotta, but once we make weight on Friday, then after we are happy, and we can eat and drink everything, rehydrate, and everything go good.
Have you got any plans on what that meal is going to be after you've weighed in and you're allowed to eat properly again?
Because I wasn't eating all week, I don't care what I'm gonna eat. I just want an energy back. I don't care. I can eat anything, no problem. But so I try to recover everything and rehydration, good, good food and whatever I need to. But after the fight, I just snacking all the time. Like I just don't eat one meal all day, all months, 2-3 months. I just snack, eat whatever I want, whenever I want, because weight cuts like it's like hard. After weight cuts, is all you wanna do is just keep eating.
Yeah, absolutely. That is one of the biggest challenges, I would say, for Fight Week, is getting that weight down and hope when you get on those scales that you don't have anything else to worry about. But you're a true professional and you've been here before.
Oh, yeah. Of course.
Look, before you go, I just wanted to ask, have you envisioned yourself wearing that bantamweight title belt yet? And what does it mean to be a title holder in this division for you?
I don't think over too much because I want to feel everything organic, and I want to be, I don't know what I'm going to say, what I'm going to do when I will win this belt, but to be champion in 135, this is huge for sure. Just to be UFC champion, and especially how many good things I can do with it. I have so many good plans to do it, and it's gonna be hard work will pay off. Whatever I was working for all these years, and I was chasing belt, and this is only few people can do it. It's gonna be huge for my country, huge for MMA, and I'm ready, man.
Nice one. Oh, it's so super exciting. It's exciting to see you going for the bout at the Sphere, making history, and all the very best for this weekend. Down here in New Zealand, we will be watching.
Thank you so much.
Well, joining me now is UFC Featherweight Diego Lopes, who prepares to take on Brian Ortega this weekend at UFC 306. Hello and welcome, Diego.
¿Cómo estás? ¿Cómo están? ¿Todo bien?
How everybody's doing, and we're just ready for the fight.
Excellent. Look, let's talk a little bit about your opponent, Brian Ortega, who has been in the UFC for a little while now. This is a great level-up fight for you, taking on number 3.
Pues para mí significa mucho, no es un peleador con mucho.
It's a really good test for me. It's a player who's been on the top for so long, so it's the perfect way for me to show what I can do and how far can I go.
Absolutely. And you were supposed to fight him in June. That wasn't to be. What were your thoughts after you couldn't fight him the first time in June?
Pues en este momento, al principio cuando dejé de la pelea, pues muy emocionado por pelear con el número 3 del mundo, ¿no? Pero ya después la pelea no pudo suceder.
I was very excited at the start, when I first heard that I was going to fight him, and then when the fight got cancelled, I was of course really a little bit sad and hoping to get the chance to fight him again. And now that that's happening, I'm very excited again and ready for it.
Fighting against Brian Ortega, he's number 3 in the division. A win here will mean a top 5 spot to you and a shot at the title, which is obviously what you must want.
more importantly than fighting him, I have to just fight a good fight, and win that fight to be able to go into the top 5 and be able to get the chance to fight the title. That's the most important thing, just to win the fight.
Now, in June, you weren't able to fight Ortega and you got an opponent on short notice. What did you learn about having to adapt to change quickly?
It was a very last call, like only 3 hours to get ready, so it was a very radical change. And it was really important for me to learn quickly how to approach that fight. And I learned a lot of lessons because of that, on how to create really quick changes and also adapt to my instinct. It was pretty much a fight fought by instinct.
And it was very impressive too, of course. You got the win there. How much did your teammates help you in that moment? You have come from a very strong stable of fighters, Alexa Grasso and Aldana, who are on this card as well. What's it like fighting in that team?
They've been really important people in my career. They always lift me to the place where I am now. And especially on this fight, it's going to be great because there's going to be the 3 of us fighting, pretty much at the same time. So they have always been really, really important for my career.
Well, you are usually seen cornering them as well. We see you there helping to coach your teammates. Who's going to be cornering them now and who will be in your corner?
We have plenty of friends that could help, to be there. Unfortunately, I won't be able to be there for the fight, for Danny's fight, because I have to prepare for my fight. But because the other contestants' fight is after mine, I might be able to be there and help. But we always have people that could help us, and of course, if I can be there, I will definitely will.
That is very exciting. Look, finally, before we let you go, Diego, UFC 306 celebrating Mexican Independence Day. What does this mean for you and your camp? I know that Alexa Grasso is a very proud Mexican and that Mexican heritage is very strong within your gym.
Sí, pues es muy importante para nosotros.
It's very important that the UFC is doing this on the National Independence Days of Mexico, and for us it represents a lot, because we want to show our fans that we are warriors and that we are representing Mexico and Latin America, on the best way possible.
That is so very exciting. Look, finally, before we let you go, what can fans expect to see when you take on Brian Ortega this weekend?
The same as always, at Diego, that he's going to go forward and he's going to try to finish the fight as soon as possible. And it's something that has been my characteristic from long ago, and that's exactly what I'm planning to do now.
It absolutely is, and we are very excited to see it. Diego Lopes, thank you very much for joining us, and all the very best. Enjoy your time at the Sphere this weekend.
Thank you. I send a big hug for guys from New Zealand. I hope it's the one day I'm staying in the country.
And joining us now from Las Vegas is Brian Ortega, who takes on Diego Lopes this weekend at UFC 306. Kia ora and hello, Brian. Welcome to UFC on Sky.
Hi. Thank you for having me on.
Look, Brian, talk to us what is happening right now, because that background looks very relaxing at the moment. You're looking very happy and relaxed.
Because I am. We're sitting in the hot tub. We were just doing backflips off the rocks over there, and we're just hanging out.
And of course, it's fight week ahead of UFC 306. It's a massive event and things like that. How important is it for you to take time like this, chill out, and just be calm and enjoy these kind of moments?
Oh, it's very rare actually. Come tomorrow, everything picks up, right? Because then we have way more media and more this and more things we have to do. And then Thursday you have the press conference, and now right after the press conference you have to go cut weight, and it's just it's a lot, So these are the literally the comms before the pre-storm, and then we get another comm session after we make weight, and then the big show's on Saturday.
Yeah, well, using your time wisely then, so good on you. But I know that it's a huge event, but it's nothing that you haven't seen before. I just wanted to say congratulations, 10 years in the UFC this year for you. So, how much does experience come into what you bring to the table this weekend?
Well, yeah, I love the fight. I don't think I'd be in here for 10 years if I didn't. But yeah, I have 10 years of experience. since I've entered the UFC, I fought nothing but monsters. I mean, you name the who's who right off the gate. I didn't have easy fights. I didn't have every single one of my opponents had a name and a winning streak to go along with it. I was fed straight to the wolves. For 10 years, I've been fighting nothing but beasts and monsters. Names that the entire world know. Frankie Edgar, Cub Swanson, Max Holloway, Volkanovski, Korean Zombie, Yair Rodriguez, Clay Guida, Renato Moicano, Diego Brandao, Thiago Tavares. These are all names that everyone knows. And that's been my career. So I've had the honor and the privilege of being in there with these guys and having wars with them.
How much does that experience play into your fight this weekend? Obviously, Diego Lopes is fairly new to the UFC, considering his short time in it so far. So how much do you tap into that experience as an advantage at UFC 306?
That's a good question. I believe I have more experience because of what I just said, the names and the people I've shared wars with, and the lessons that you learn there. I'm not one to just win a fight and celebrate myself and idolize myself and pat myself on my own back. I'm someone who, win or lose, regardless, I go in there and I'm a very hard critic on myself. I remember everything that went on during that fight, and we go right back to the lab and we fix it. We get to work on it, because these things they're not fixed overnight, nor over months. They're fixed over years. So we make those habits right off the bat. We made those habits, and it's worked off, because now look at us. We've been in the top 5 for 8 of those years.
Absolutely.
8 of those 10 years.
Yeah. Well, your work absolutely does reflect that, because when we look at what's so popular right now and why people are buying tickets and pay-per-views, a lot of it is because you're on this card that you're fighting, and you're not even one of the title fights, but you're one of the biggest draws on this card.
Absolutely. And that is all thanks to the fans I have out there. That's all thanks to the love and support that everyone has, and the hate.
Yeah, hate does buy tickets too, so that'll work as well.
It all works out.
Yeah. Look, I know you've over 10 years seen a lot of things in your time in the UFC, but obviously you haven't fought at the Sphere before. Have you been able to get through there, have a look at the venue, and kind of feel out what to expect come this weekend?
I can only imagine. That's it. I can only imagine walking in there, seeing the room, seeing the cage right at the end of it, seeing half of an arena in a stadium situation. It's a very unique layout. Very unique. One of one, and it's crazy, because I'm gonna see 16,000 people on one side, then I'm going to see nothing on the other. Usually you see 18,000 people in a circle all the way around. I'm going to see 16,000 people when I look in one direction. That's crazy. And then the screens in the back and the show that Dana White and the UFC has for you guys and us as fighters, obviously, we're not going to lose. So you're going to get an automatic show with us. So I think all around it's an honor, and it's a privilege to be called here for this date to represent, 1, Mexicans, and 2, give everyone a show.
Absolutely, and that's what I wanted to ask you about next. Not only are you going to be, a part of not just a UFC first, a world sporting first, but to be there acknowledging Mexican Independence Day and being able to see the history of Mexican combat sport up on those big screens must be a very special time and moment for you as well.
Oh, 100%. I think about things growing up where I would watch my dad watch boxing fights on TV. And I always wanted to be one of those people that he's kind of admiring. I am now. And then you always think about, how can I top the booth? How can I make it better? It's hard to make it better. It's like, Dad, I fought on pay-per-views, full crowds, full arenas, main events, and I fought the best of the best, and you were right there, front row, to witness it. I don't know what else to give you. Thank you, Dana White.
Yeah.
I got something new to give to him.
How much does culture play into, you know, how you approach your career as a UFC fighter? I would imagine that it gives you maybe an added boost of motivation or just a different, perhaps, perspective on how to approach fights like this, especially when you're acknowledging a moment like this.
Motivation is one that comes to mind, right? The motivation to fight someone who's hungry, the motivation in the situation that I'm in, which is a position in which people believe that I'm maybe gonna lose and be a contender, and he's gonna be the next up in line, or I'm gonna be the guy who shuts him down. That in itself is exciting. And then you take that and then you put us in a sphere. Like I said, the UFC knows what they're doing.
Yeah, once
They're
in a
not
lifetime.
dumb, and as years go by, they get better at what they do.
It's actually a little bit scary to think, what will they come up with next?
All I know is they better call me, because I'll be there.
Absolutely. Look, for those who are waiting in anticipation for UFC 306, what can they expect to see when Brian Ortega takes to the cage this weekend?
You're going to see a man who doesn't quit on the feet and who doesn't quit on the ground. You're going to see a man who pushes on the feet and pushes on the ground. This fight doesn't have a pause button nor a relax button. This fight is action right off the bat.
Nice, that's really exciting. We can't wait to see you. You have a huge fan base down here in New Zealand, and can't wait to see you in action up against Diego Lopes this weekend. All the very best, and enjoy your time in the hot tub.
Thank you so much.
26-year-old Navajo Stirling. He comes from New Zealand, from the acclaimed City Boxing Camp, and he has so much confidence. Listen to what he said. He said, I'm going to be one of the best fighters of all time. You'll see I will pass with flying colors tonight, knock this guy out, make it look easy, and you guys are going to want to remember my name. Let's take a look at the tail of the tape. And Navajo Stirling, the younger fighter, 26 years old, has a 1-inch height advantage, coming both at 206 pounds.
All at home. Stay in position. Stay in position. Follow at home.
Whoa! Good night! One-punch knockout for Navajo Stirling.
And that was just all set up nicely. Navajo Stirling really took his time, waited for those moments, and then finally we see him unleash that left hook. But it started with prodding with that jab over and over again, looking to set up the big power shot, forcing Latu to get aggressive, and then he just landed just a bomb.
Someone needed to own tonight, to own the evening, the moment, the card, and that's exactly what he just did.
Absolutely, I agree.
Obviously, Stirling looked incredible. He is 26 years old. He's 5-0. He's 6'4". He's a true light heavyweight, and he did impress me tonight. He delivered tonight. I'm interested. I want to see what he can do in the UFC.
Hate to say I told you so, but New Zealand's own Navajo Stirling walking away with a UFC contract.
Well, Dan, thank you so much for joining me for another week.
No trouble.
All the very best on your travels to Las Vegas for this event, and
My tiki tour.
yeah, tiki tour, and then you're off to Dana White Contender Series to back your boy Aaron Toe as well.
Yeah, we'll bring him back a contract, and then we're holidaying in Tahiti.
Have fun. You have earned it. Whānau, thank you so much for joining us as well. UFC 306 goes down this Sunday. Head on over to Sky Arena or Sky Sport now to book that pay-per-view. Mā te wā.